All right, we're going to go over the final on-ramp session, number 5 of 5, starting with the warm-up. Then we're going to move into push-ups, rope climb, box jumps, shoulder to overhead, and then a workout. So take it away.
So warm-up today is going to be dedicated to learning how to skip. So we have a calf stretch that we're going to begin with, and then we've got several different progressions. Now, the standard that we try to aim for in class and that we encourage all athletes to kind of continually work on is the double under. So the double under is skipping with the rope, but you've got 2 passes of the rope under your feet each time. They're very challenging. They are definitely a tough variation of the skip movement. Plenty of our athletes will stick with single unders for the workout, but we try to encourage them to practice it, free time before class. Typically, if we have them in class, we'll do a little practice as well. But just keep in mind, they're pretty frustrating movements, so don't spend too much time on them in the warm-up because your athlete might get a little frustrated trying to learn them. So give it a try, and then you can move on. We'll start off with this calf stretch, though. So it's a 1 minute per side calf stretch, just making sure their kind of calves and Achilles are warmed up. Usually use like a wall or a post. I guess I'll come and use this one over here. Very simple. All we're going to do is get your toes up nice and high on the rack. So my heel is, I'm pretty blocked by the dumbbell here, but toe up high on the rack so your heel is close to the wall, not like this where your heel is far away. So heel nice and close, straight leg, and then you're just going to push the hips forward. I kind of rise up on my toe back here a little bit, and they should feel a pretty intense stretch on the back of their calf. Another variation to this, if you want to do it, is to lose kind of the gastroc stretch and get a little bit deeper into the soleus and the Achilles, and that's going to be bending that knee, and you can kind of move your knee back and forth a little bit. But you'll feel that stretch change from when you have a straight leg to a bent knee. So either one is really fine. You can do a little bit of both. We do a minute of each on there. After that, you can do a little more foot warm-ups if you want to, but we're going to move on to our rope. So the first version or variation on our list is going to be the single under, which is the plain regular skip with the rope. Actually, let's go give them the tour of the ropes at the back, because you'll need to select a rope for them.
Yes.
So you can take them on a little field trip to the back of the gym here, where we have all of the ropes. Now, they're welcome to bring their own ropes. If they have a rope, go for it. They can bring it in. But in case they don't, we have a selection here. We have shortest to longest, and they're all color-coded by tape on the handles. So when you're showing them this, make sure they aren't looking at the color of the handle of the rope, like this one is red here, but the length is going to be the yellow one, so it goes on the yellow rack. We have red all the way down at the end. That's going to be your longest rope, but you can show them all the different lengths here. Now, I'm 5'7", and I would use the yellow one, so it's kind of like a mid-range rope. So you can have them just kind of grab one at random. We're going to measure it, and we can always adjust it, but it's going to be a bit of trial and error to start with. So I'm going to grab the yellow one here just so we can show. Now, the way that we're going to measure it is they're going to hold it out to the sides. They're going to step right in the middle, and they're going to pull the handles up, elbows tucked in with the handles flat. Now, I like a shorter rope for my double unders, so I go kind of like mid-rib height. That's where I like to be. Typically, when people are learning, we want the rope to be a little bit longer, and we kind of want to sit at maybe more armpit height. So let me try an orange one here and see if that's a little better. So standing in the middle, handles flat. Yeah, so this is kind of more what I would recommend for a beginner, maybe even a bit longer. But you can do your skipping kind of right here and be able to grab the ropes. You can switch them up if you need to. So once you have selected an appropriate rope for them, we'll head back over here. I have my own rope on this side, and we'll try out some single unders. Now, most athletes have tried some skipping in their past at some point. So some of them will be like super natural at it and kind of get it right away. Other athletes might take some more time, which is fine. Now, when we do any kind of skipping, what we want to think about, feet together, tall body, tall jumps, very springy in your ankles and your knees. We don't want to think about tuck jumping or kicking out to the front or like butt kicks when you jump. We want it to be a nice, tall, long jump. Hands are going to be nice and relaxed, hands sitting just in front of your quads. You should always be able to see your hands in your peripheral vision. So we don't want hands back here, and we don't want big circles with the arms either. We want nice, relaxed, in front of your body, and we're moving at the wrists and the elbows, and that's going to allow you to keep your shoulders a bit more relaxed as well. So single unders will look like this. Feet together, tall jumps, low hands, but I can see my hands in my peripheral vision down in the corners. This is the single under. Now, if that's too easy, then we're going to progress to learning all about the double under. First step is going to be what's called a penguin jump. And the penguin jump is a really great drill. It's very simple, and it teaches the athlete both the height that they need to jump at for double unders, which is higher than a single under, and the speed at which their hands need to turn over. So penguin jumps look like this. It's a high jump, still nice and tall, so still feet together, jumping nice and tall, but we have 2 quick hits of your hips at the peak of the jump. What we don't want to see is landing on a hit, because that hit is meant to replicate the rope passing under. If we pass the rope under while we land, then we're not going to complete the double under. So, tall jumps, 2 quick taps, couple, maybe 20 reps or so of that. If that all looks good, we're going to go back to our rope. Now, we're going to try some single unders still, but with that tall penguin jump. Really try to emphasize we need height with double unders. It's going to feel not like a normal skip. Height on the jump. Slow hands. Your hands are moving much slower than your previous single unders, but we're just working on the height of the jump. Now, if all of that looks good, they're confident, they want to keep going, you can have them start trying some double unders. Now, I will typically have them do several single unders, get them into a rhythm, and then when they're ready, they're going to jump tall, they're going to try to fire their hands quickly twice, and we'll see if the rope goes under. It might not. Give it a try, but we'll give them a good attempt. So get into a rhythm with the singles, and then if they want to throw in a double, they can. You can hear the rope, hopefully, you can hear the rope like whistle in the air. That's the speed we need. It's got to be really, really fast, flick, flick of the hands. And that's why these ropes are a little bit unique too. They have ball bearings in them, so they spin really smoothly. So a typical like schoolyard jump rope wouldn't work quite as well for this. These are called speed ropes because they need to kind of flick fast through the air. Yeah, so I think that's about it for the skipping. They should be nice and tired and nice and frustrated by that point. Something that I'll just caution you as a coach as well when you're teaching these on ramp and in class is that when you miss double unders, the rope really tends to hurt. It whips you a little bit. Again, because it's a speed rope, it's got a really thin cable, and so it's not great when you miss because it hurts a little bit. So that could be another kind of factor of the frustration. So just keep that in mind. They're not easy to learn, and give your athletes, lots of breaks and lots of positive reinforcement when they're learning them because they're a little bit punishing to really practice a lot of. So yeah, anything else to add to that, Sam?
Yeah, could we maybe talk about, in the case of like an injured athlete who maybe has a shoulder injury or somebody who has like pelvic floor issues, like good options outside of skipping?
Mm-hmm. Yep, so so if it's something like an injury, whether it's like knee or ankle or shoulder, anything they can't really skip, because skipping tends to be like a cardio movement, I'll most often have them like hop on a bike or onto a rower. They could even do shuttle runs if there's room. If it's summer, they could run outside. Just kind of movements that are going to kind of replicate the pattern of the skip. As far as scaling it, like finding a number for them to do, that's a little bit difficult to decide. The way that I would very likely scale it is estimate roughly how long 40 double unders or whatever the movement is in the workout will take, so maybe 30 seconds, and then approximate, how long would 30 seconds or how many calories would 30 seconds equal on the bike. So you can give them a number like that, or you can just say 30 seconds on the bike, something to that effect. But yeah, the skipping is largely going to be a cardio movement.
Yeah.
So give them a choice cardio based.
Maybe even we could go over a plate hop as well.
Oh yeah. Forgot about those. Plate hops are great too. This is good warm up too. If you want to add another warm up movement in there. Plate hops, whatever thickness you like. Naturally, the thinner plate is going to be easier. The higher plate's going to be tougher. Plate hops, feet together. We hop on and off the plate. You can do front and back. They can even do like out in, like this. They could even do like split jumps, like this. Lots of different choices there. But yeah, that's another good one. That'll train ankles, calves, feet, that kind of thing. Yeah, that's a good one too.
So another thing to consider on the on-ramp sheet, you'll see a link besides skipping. What this does is it can also show people a quick visual of how to scale double unders in a class. So for example, if I was going to choose single unders, typically we take that number, multiply it by 1.5 to 2, which works out to 30 to 40 reps today. We can do something like a high jump, which is the same sort of skipping, but focus on jumping a little bit higher with each rep to build that lower body strength. As Emily mentioned, the penguin jumps are great for developing the rhythm. And then another good way to look at double unders is you can practice the movement for 20 seconds rather than 20 reps, so a 1-to-1 ratio as a way to get better with the movement. And again, plate hops is another good substitute. So sometimes showing them this visual can be helpful to just kind of show them the array of scaling options and how they would be scaled in a class setting.